Hey yogis, I'm Nicole. Welcome to my yoga time. Today's yoga snack is for the riders. So whether you're a mountain biker or a road cyclist, this class is designed to help release tension in your hamstrings, your quads, your hip flexors, your shoulders, upper back, lower back. So I do have 2 blocks for this class. If you don't have blocks, you can improvise with a thick book and also a rolled up towel. And I'm also going to be using the wall. So do place your mat close to the wall. So when you're ready, let's begin. I'll demonstrate on this wall to begin with. So you'll sit with one hip next to the wall and then you'll bring your shoulders down as you swing your legs up. So a little bit of a wiggle to get in as close as you comfortably can. Then once those legs are up the wall, you have the option to place either one block on the flat side underneath your lower back or 2 blocks stacked on top of one another. And then we'll straighten those legs and just let them fall heavy against the wall. Arms can be by your side or above the head. And this position is a lovely way to relieve those tired legs, to gently lengthen those hamstrings and the lower back. And I encourage all yogis to place the tip of the tongue where the teeth meets the roof of the mouth. Just maintaining that softness in the jaw. Though see if you can find a slight tone in the back of your throat. And you might like to stay exactly as you are. Or for a little movement here through the feet, you can inhale and point the toes and exhale to flex the feet. And we'll just take 2 more breaths here. See if you can witness those breaths without the mind chatter distracting you. After that second breath, let's bend those knees. Push the feet into the wall to lift up your hips, remove your blocks, and then touching down. Once there, let's bring the soles of the feet together, let the knees fall out wide, and begin to arch your back just a little. So try and press down through the tailbone. Hands can be on the knees, the navel, or out to the side. Let's bring those knees together now. We'll take a reclined pigeon on the wall. So straighten your right leg and place your left ankle on the front of the right leg, either above or below the knee. That will depend on your hips. Now option 1, you'll stay as you are. If you're looking for something a little deeper, bend the right leg as well. Bring the sole of the foot to the wall, but don't let your bottom lift up off the mat. Try and arch through the lower back. So the lower you're able to bring this left foot and the more you're able to bend the right leg, the deeper you'll feel the pose. And just keeping the jaw relaxed. checking the placement of the tongue. And see if you can breathe into the outer hip, the lower belly, the lower back. And let's release. We'll change sides straight away. Depending on your knees and hips, if you're nursing any injuries, you might find that you're taking a slightly different variation from one side to the other, and that is okay. And releasing the pose when you're ready. We'll just roll to one side and then push yourself up. We'll come up into tabletop position. So having those hands under the shoulders, knees under the hips. And then from here, we'll extend the arms out in front. So you're finding your puppy pose, keeping those hips nice and high. Now you might choose to keep your arms straight or bring the elbows a little closer and take the hands into prayer above the head. And if your head doesn't meet the mat with ease, place your block underneath for support. And on your next inhalation, let's lift up out of the pose, return to tabletop. So a little bit of wrist and forearm therapy here. We're going to turn the fingertips around to face the knees. And if that's too intense for you, you can always do one hand at a time or even just try taking the hand out to the side. Now if you can, we'll curl those toes under. We'll start to round the back and see if you can lean back just a little. Well done, let's shake it out. And then from here, we'll take those hands under shoulders again. See if your pinky fingers can meet the edges of the mat. Just a little flow here as we inhale, find a back bend. And then as you exhale, rounding the spine. Now you might choose to stay with this action, or you can include a downward facing dog. So as you round the spine, lift up those hips, taking them up and back, pressing into the pads of the fingers and sending the chest towards the thighs. And just hold this pose as you inhale. And then as you begin to exhale, slowly bring those knees down to the mat. And then follow your inhalation into your back bend. Exhaling to round, hips up and back. Holding here as you inhale. And exhale, lower the knees. We'll do 2 more rounds. And we'll hold this last downward facing dog. So you might choose to stay completely still, or if you have the urge to slowly walk out the legs, you can bend one knee and drop that hip, and then change sides. And from here, we'll come forward into a plank pose. Be sure to round the upper back. So you want to push the back of the heart up towards the ceiling. Bring the body forward as though you're looking over a cliff. And then try to brush your elbows with your ribs and squeeze the heels of the palms in as you come all the way down. So we're going to avoid collapsing the shoulders. Once you come down to the mat, we'll keep those hands underneath the shoulders. Try and tuck your tailbone under, and we'll inhale and lift the upper body off the mat. So cactus arms here. Just a little bit of strength work through those shoulders. And you might choose to stay here or feel free to float up those feet, lifting through the inner thighs. Keep breathing. And from here, we'll lower down. We're going to use the right hand as a pillow and take a quad stretch with the left leg. So if you can't reach the foot with ease, you can always use a strap instead. Now, to efficiently stretch the quads, you need to engage your core. So I want you to try and tuck your tailbone under. You're going to shorten the space between the pubic bone and the belly button. You should feel the lower abdominal muscles engage just a little. And rest your head down. And let's change sides. And let's release, extending both arms out in front now, keeping the chest and the head lifted, and try and drag your hands back towards your hips. So you want to feel all the muscles along your spine engage. And from here, let's lower and push ourselves back up to seated. So using our 2 blocks now, or your rolled up towel in your book. Now, if you're using a rolled up towel, you're going to place that just behind the shoulder blades where this bottom block is. So coming into our supported fish pose, keep those knees bent as you lay yourself down. 1 block under the shoulder blades, 1 block under the head. Now, if you need to lighten this pose, you can always take the prop under the head higher, or if you want to deepen the pose, remove that prop altogether and bring your head down to the mat. Now, if your lower back has caught your awareness here, just keep those knees bent. Otherwise, option to straighten and relax the legs. Be sure to take the arms out to the side as high as they will comfortably go. And let's prepare to release the pose now, bending those knees, palms pressing into the mat, tuck in your chin. You should bring yourself all the way up. So just placing your props to the side. From here, we're going to move into our pigeon pose. So you'll take your right leg behind you, Left leg is bent and we've got that heel fairly close to the groin. If this position is not an option for you due to knee or hip ailments, I want you to bend both legs instead. So you've created a right angle through the backs of both knees, shin and thigh parallel to one another and the short side of the mat. If you're in this position, you'll fall down a little off to the side over that knee. If you're in your standard pigeon pose, you'll come down to the center. So you can use your block under the head for support or make fists with the hands, stacking them on top of one another to rest the forehand. Checking that no tension has crept into the jaw. Try to deepen your breath into the lower body. Notice the back very subtly rise as you inhale. And then try to hold the breath. Pause for a moment before you exhale. Follow your next inhalation out of the pose. So we're going to return to our downward facing dog before we change sides. Feel free to walk out the legs or move the hips from side to side. And then when you're ready, changing sides, take the right knee behind the wrist, lengthen left leg behind you, or again, lean off over to the right side, bending both legs. So whichever part of the body has caught your awareness is where you're sending your breath. Let's follow your next inhalation coming out of the pose. We'll swing that left leg around. We're going to recline onto our back. Make sure you've got a block close by. And once you touch down, we'll come into a supported bridge pose. So lifting up those hips. Now you might choose to have the block on the flat side or a little deeper if you take the block to the second height. And we're just going to work into those hip flexors a little here. Take a hold of your left leg. Now you might choose to keep the right leg bent or a little deeper if you straighten and relax the leg. Notice your navel rising on the inhalation. And again, find that moment to pause before you exhale. And let's change sides, bending the right leg, release the left. And then when you're ready, release that right leg as well. Now you might choose to bend both knees or straighten and relax the legs. If there's any catching in your back here at all, then keep those knees bent. Avoid straightening the legs. Arms can be by your side or above the head. And let's release this pose, bending both knees. Lifting up your hips and your heels at the same time. Remove your block. Keep those heels nice and high as you lower down one vertebrae at a time. And when you touch down, either take the feet wide, bring the knees into touch and relax there. Otherwise, cup the hands over the knees. Arms as straight as you inhale and just bend the elbows as you exhale. And take longer here if you need to, otherwise release when you're ready. Coming into a twist now. Move the hips just a touch to the left, crossing the left leg over the right leg. I encourage you to use your prop underneath the legs for support. Arms can be out to the side. And if it feels okay for your neck, lift the head, move the back of the head to the right, and then turn your head to the left, relaxing down. Now, a couple of choices here, yogis. Feel free to stay exactly as you are if you're in your sweet spot. If you'd like to take another quad stretch, we're going to keep this left knee on the block and straighten your right leg underneath you. Take the right leg back a little and bend the knee, collect the foot. Try to keep those collarbones facing the ceiling. Let's take one last inhalation here. Release as you exhale. Return to your back. And we'll change sides. So just take those hips a little to the right leg over the left leg. Again, feel free to adjust the head and neck. And then try to deepen your twist by deepening your breath. Option to stay as you are, or keeping that right knee on the block, straighten your left leg underneath you. Take the leg back just a little before bending the knee, collecting the foot. Take one last inhalation here. And as you exhale, release the foot. If you have it, return to your back. So we'll take just a few moments in Shavasana to allow the body to reset. So I encourage you to place, if you've got your blocks, one under each thigh. Otherwise, maybe your rolled up towel or your pillow underneath the legs. We'll turn the palms to face the ceiling and tuck your shoulders under. Softening the forehead, the tongue and jaw. Let's inhale a little deeper now. Begin to wiggle toes and fingers. Feel free to stretch if the urge arises. And then in your own time, roll onto your preferred side before pushing yourself up to seated. Well, thanks, yogis. I hope that you enjoyed the practice and you were able to release some tension in your body. In the very near future, I will put together another yoga class for you, which will be a flow, including a little bit more core work. So if you enjoyed the class, I do encourage you to please subscribe to the channel. It's the best way to support free yoga on YouTube. Wishing you a lovely day.